Hi, Ms. Bai, I'm Alex. So for this assignment, I have done research on James Pascal Jewell. So James is born in Salford on Christmas Eve of 1818, and he is basically born into a wealthy brewing family. At an early age, he was mostly homeschooled due to health issues that he had. And then here's the image of their family brewery. So during his study, James enjoyed experimenting with electricity, and then at the age of 16, he studied arithmetic and geometry under John Dalton, which is an English chemist at the Manchester Literary and Philosophical Society. He would often carry out experiments in the family brewery or laboratory built in the cellar of his father's home. And then later in 1837, he took over the brewery. His first contribution to physics is the discovery on Joule's law in 1840, and he basically established a relationship between the flow of current through a resistance and the heat generated. And he came up with the equation P equals I squared R, where P is power, I is current, and R is resistance. Then in 1843, he published his volume for work required to produce a unit of heat called the mechanical equivalent of heat. And it basically states that heat and mechanical work are both forms of energy and they can change into one another. And this is important because it forms the basics of law of conservation of energy, and it's the first law of thermodynamics. Then he collaborated with Lord Kelvin, or also known as William Thomson, on the formulation of absolute scale of temperature. And then together in 1852, they discovered the Joule-Thomson effect, showing that when gas is expanded without production of work, its temperature falls. And this concept was later used in refrigeration. Here is just an image of an electric motor that James presented to Kevin. A little bit more about his contribution. He has done extensive research on magnetic stuff as well, and he's the first scientist to discover a property of ferromagnetic materials that makes them modify their shape when exposed to magnetic fields. So as you can see here, and then the derived unit of energy or work, joule, is also named after him, and he is also credited for the first ever calculation on the velocity of a gas molecule. Some awards that he had: he was elected to the Royal Society of London in 1850, and he received the Royal Medal of in 1852 for his paper on the mechanical equivalent of heat. And then in 1870, he was awarded the prestigious Copley Medal of the Royal Society for his experimental research on the dynamical theory of heat. And then some more about his personal life. In 1847, he married his wife, Amelia Grams, and they had 2 sons and a daughter. Amelia and his second son both died in 1854, and himself died on October 11, 1889 in England after a very long illness. By then, he was 70 years old. And yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Here's just an image citation. As you can see, I labeled them, and they correspond to the image numbers, like that. And then, yeah, also wrote the author's name. And then here's the reference for everything that I have used for this presentation, and I will be uploading everything, basically the PowerPoint and the reference. Yeah, and yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much, and have a good day.